they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball, I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say, I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life, I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitted for it, cause you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot, wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this, go up. You know it's all net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get big right. Cause it can get big right. Cause it can get big right. Ay, please don't play no games with me, I promise I'm too much. Ay, I can never let up even if you had enough. Ay, this ain't for the faint of heart, we always playing rough. I had enough, it ain't luck. I needed a vision, I needed ambition, I needed a mission to beat in submission with no intermission. I see the collision, the crash in the distance, they coming off track, no. Now when they ask what's the motive, don't talk about the show them. They all about to see what I mean in the moment. I gotta keep going, I'm shaking the dice and I'm keeping it rolling, they already know. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play so. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get big right. Cause it can get big right. Cause it can get big right.
Yep. Salute. ATP, what's good, man? What's good, family? What's good, family? Shout out to everybody in the building, man. We back at another segment in here, man. My apologies for being, I wasn't late. I was on time, man. Salute to you guys, man. We actually going in a little earlier. I think we're going to move the time around this time. Try to be consistent with this time here. Shout out to everybody in the building. A lot going on in boxing. Obviously, that's why we do this show over the weekend. Great event this weekend. Great events, you know what I'm saying? The Ryan Garcia, Mario Barrios event has gone down. It's in the books. Ryan Garcia, new WBC 147-pound welterweight champion. And obviously a lot. We knew that if Ryan Garcia won this fight, we knew the ramifications for this fight and what was going to come on the back end of it. We knew that it was a lot of people waiting to see what was going to happen with this fight. Was this going to be the return of Ryan Garcia? And that being said, a good look for American boxing. Whether you are a fan of Ryan Garcia or not a fan of Ryan Garcia, however you may sit when it comes to that personal conversation, about Ryan Garcia, however it sits with you, more importantly, at the end of the day, we know he was going to move the needle. And he has, right? Shaking up the space. Shakur Stevenson in the conversation. Devin Haney in the conversation, as he's always been. It seems like the Haneys maybe even changing their whole entire perspective on the value of this fight, whereas at one point in time, it seemed like they were, Devin Haney did post the ship sailed, right? But things have changed, right? Money moves the needle, and Ryan Garcia right now is big money. Is he the bag right now in boxing? Probably to a certain degree, right? He's part of a lot of these big fighters' biggest bags that they can get in the game. So obviously they're going to have to take some consideration of all these things, reconsider whatever thoughts they had before going into this. And on the back end of the results, we got to talk about what makes more sense. And we're going to talk about that, right? What makes more sense for Ryan Garcia? What makes more sense for Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson? We know last week, the last show we did last Thursday, that right in the middle of that show, we got a big announcement about Conor Benn signing to Zuffa Boxing, moving away from Matchroom, a company that he was with for well over 10 years. Eddie Hearn tapping in about his emotional attachment to Conor Benn and how this shook his world up. He didn't see this coming, which is crazy. You guys don't know how I could resonate with that even more than you might imagine. But Eddie Hearn obviously having to figure things out, and I'm sure he will. We got to keep in mind, Eddie just renewed a DAZN deal for 5 years, 30 fights a year, a deal he inked in with Rock Nation last year, end of last year. which is huge for him as well. And also relationships he has with Turkey Al-Sheikh and Riyadh season now with the zone. So Eddie will be okay, right? But what makes sense now that Dana White has come into the game and moved all these pieces around in the boxing space, this one being one of the latest, the first of many big moves that are coming from Dana White, who I'm expecting is going to be reaching out to a lot of fighters who have ended their contracts with their promotional companies are going to be considering their options, obviously. But what's the big plan with Conor Benn? $15 million deal is what's circulating through the space right now. We never know. We're on the outside looking in. But a $15 million deal circulating through the space for Conor Benn for one fight. Does that make sense? Did Dana White potentially move prematurely? Who's going to be the dance partner? May 31st, circulating date here about in the UK. We don't know. We know also that people from Zuffa Boxing are communicating with Sky Sports in England. I know that Zuffa is also, what's the word I'm looking for? Petitioning for their belt to be recognized in England, that Zuffa belt. So there's so many moving parts here. And then, of course, news comes out as well earlier this week, maybe yesterday or during the weekend or yesterday, that Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao are in negotiations and pressed to do something early September, right? Early September, from what I understand, potentially Netflix may be the network that they're looking to do it on. This one will be the second fight they had. The first one, lackluster. These guys had a rivalry going on for years. The fight never seemed to drop on time. But listen, man, now aging the way it has, and both gentlemen not getting younger, they're trying to have a second go at it. And I think more importantly, Netflix showing interest in boxing a lot, right? But what's their angle going to be? They've been part of a lot of some people call it YouTuber fights, or, you know, I don't know what kind of fights you want to call them when you think about what Jake Paul did with Mike Tyson or what Jake Paul did with Anthony Joshua. And here we go, bringing back two fighters that are not even arguably out of their prime, but we'll talk about it, right? What does that mean? What does that mean for Netflix? What does that mean for boxing, a sport in America that's been floating around for the past 10 to 20 years? Networks lost interest in boxing, got out of the business. Showtime left the PBC, well, Paramount did, who bought Showtime and left the PBC. ESPN got out of the business with Top Rank. The Zone has always been there. But now with Turkey Al-Sheikh in the game, it does seem like the networks are getting a little bit more interested. Paramount, who got out of boxing, jumps back into boxing with Dana White. Obviously, very confident in Dana White's ability and his leadership, accolades that he has and attributes that he has, an ability to make a business like this in combat sports very successful. So are the networks tapping back in? Are they excited? Have they ever tapped out of boxing? Were the networks not interested in boxing anymore, or was it the way boxing was moving the networks weren't interested in? And now that they see this going on with Dana White, has it rekindled something in the space? Guys, we'll talk about it all. We'll talk about the undercard, Richardson Hitchens not making the fight. Obviously, the elephant in the room with Richardson Hitchens is that rehydration clause with the IBF. What does that mean? What does Hitchens go on from here? This is the second huge opportunity he's blown through, dropped the bag. Is he going to continue, just move up to 147? Will he stay at 140 and give Oscar Duarte a fight, defend his title, or fight I can't even remember his name, but the mandatory in the IBF? Does he go to Zuffa? All these different things we could be talking about, right? We're going to talk about it all, of course. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to Sam from Jersey in the building. So let's go, my favorite boxing channel. I appreciate that, family. Big Star says, if I'm Devin Haney, I don't rematch Ryan Garcia unless he remains in VADA testing now until the rematch happens. If the fight is next, then he'll have to enroll in VADA testing for 6 months prior. Okay, no doubt, man. Shout out to Monyor, says salute Claymore to Rain and co-host Reyes. Monyor's in the building, says they offered Kerr that $15 million for one fight against Conor, but I think he can make more if he gets the Ryan fight. They offered Kerr? Okay, I didn't know that. Well, I guess we'll talk about that. Pugilism in the building. Salute says Shakur's a grandmaster chess boxing, controls the board. The race isn't how fast Haney Ryan rematch. The race shows Shakur first dictate terms and control the board. SOB TV in the building. Salute family, says salute Claymore, blessings, brother. Scoon Corleone in the building said, and Bill is on the Boxing Voice petitioning for the Ryan fight right now. Oh my goodness. Salute to the pugilism. Let me see here if I'm missing anybody. All right, everybody's pretty much tapped in, man. Blue posted a little while ago. Okay, let's see what happens, man. Let's get right to it, man. Before I keep going on any further with this, let me shout out to my guy. You already know, y'all love to hate him, y'all hate to love him, but it is what it is. It's my guy, man. Angelo Reyes in Angelo. Goody was good, Angelo. How your day going, man?
Oh, always feeling pretty good, man. Transplant strong, have another chance to live another day. So, got to talk about the positives. And yeah, man, what a weekend. What a weekend of fights. And shout out to the UK. Eddie Hearn put on a hell of a show. 8,000 people. Wood Warrington, the Ishmael Davis, Bilal Fawaz fight was awesome. For you guys who are listening to us on the ATP Combat Media on Claymore Reign YouTube, you guys should know that I'm assuming that you probably have a DAZN subscription. And if you do, you might want to go check out that fight from early Saturday morning. And then I think knockout of the weekend belongs to the Clarissa Shields undercard, bro, with Che Canelli getting knocked out by Daniela Perkins. That was a crazy knockout.
Shea Canelli, yeah. That was, was it the knockout? It probably was.
I mean, that was pretty crazy knockout. That's pretty crazy. So, but yeah, man, it's just fun again. It's just fun to have. It's just fun to have, the fact that we have a Friday, Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday rollout, and it feels like it's been like that every weekend since 2026 started, right? Which again goes to show the very thing we always talk about on the show, which is if you're a mainstream casual and you don't understand that boxing is globally, especially outside the US, is a top 3 sport, then you just don't know why it's been around for over 100 years and why so many people watch it. I mean, they talk about how Jack Johnson at one point had 100,000 people in an audience watching his fights, right? And it's just, this is boxing, man. Everybody relates to it. Everybody loves it. You guys should check out. It'll be dropping either late tonight or early tomorrow morning. Our what do we call it? Read the Ring.
It'll be dropping probably tomorrow afternoon, evening. But yeah, man, y'all tap into that as well, man. It's a new segment we're doing. It's gonna be premieres, dropping as premieres pre-recorded. We're gonna, a lot of conversations that me and Angelo have outside of the show are very interesting, and we really want it to be a place where we can have those conversations. But at the same time, we understand that this show right here is really about the engagement with you guys, talking about current events to a certain degree. So we just want to give you guys another look at some things. Hopefully the show hits well. You guys support it when you see it, view it, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? I think you guys will enjoy it. A lot of perspective on what's going on in the sport, a lot of perspective on how to look at things going on, and a lot, I think you guys are tapping. I don't want to get too deep into it.
Yeah, no, definitely check out, if you guys want to get a preview of it all, check out our episode 1. It was about 45 minutes of us discussing not so much the Conor Benn signing, but more so from the perspective of how does this affect the entire sport and why would it be such a big deal? So if you guys haven't checked it out, please watch the replay, and it's a really good episode. It's a really good episode. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Sam from Jersey here with the $20. Holla. For giving us this great boxing talk. We're not getting it like this nowhere else. Support the channel. Loved the Read the Room podcast too, no doubt, man. And it's going to be called Read the Ring. Shout out to shout out to Jab Queen, and I want to say Cam J Network. Looks like they have a show that they've already rolled out a couple of months ago, that a segment to their show that they had Read the Room. So respectfully, you know what I'm saying, go support them as well. Hope their show does great. You know what I mean? I haven't really watched it before, but that's why we're changing it to Read the Ring. I kind of like it better, to be honest with you. We were just throwing the Read the Room against the wall. It was last minute. Like I said, this is something we've just, in the middle of a conversation about boxing, decided that we want to do this. Yeah. And just threw it at the wall. But I think Read the Ring kind of fits us a little bit better anyway. So
and we didn't, and for future reference for anyone else out there, if you really want to have your name or title or whatever it is, make sure you copyright it. Otherwise, anyone can basically say anything that they want to, and no one's intentionally trying to quote unquote bite off of anyone else.
Right.
This is just, man, respect the space, guys. Respect the space, right?
100%.
We're also busy doing our own thing. Honestly, we're not really paying attention to everybody else. All right. I'm just respectfully.
It's never on purpose, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But shout out to those guys, man. Check them out. I'm sure they're doing great things over there. So look, man, I want to jump right into it because we got so many things I want to cover. I don't even know if we're going to cover it all. We're going to try our best to
keep it under the limit. Keep the debate under the limit. Don't get on me about this Haney Shakur thing, man, because I'm gonna get hot.
hey, we can't call. We're gonna play by ear. We're gonna try our best, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? Welcome to the ATP Combat Media experience, right?
Right.
So look, man, the big topic, obviously, Mario Barrios, Ryan Garcia. The card went down. Not a bad card at all. I think the card rivaled Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez's card. I don't know if you like the Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez card better or this one better. I'm not here to argue one way or the other because I think there's arguments on both sides. But that being said, that's a good thing because what it means is it was a great card. And we know what the main event was, man. Let's go ahead and run through some of the big events that happened before going to the main event. I want to start off real quick just saying here, activity. I always push it. It's so important for these fighters, especially for these up-and-coming prospect turning contender fighters to get as active as they can. And also the right matchmaking, leveling up the competition so that they develop, so they don't become stagnant, so they don't regress, God forbid, right? And who I'm talking about right now is Josh Edwards. I don't even know the guy who he's fighting against. I want to say it was
the real Italian Rocky, bro.
Yeah, man. It was crazy. It was crazy. Josh Edwards, a fighter who I look at as a potential future contender in the American heavyweight space. And the performance was just, and against an opponent that was, I don't think anybody rated that opponent for him to go to full length of the fight. He wasn't cutting the ring off. There was a whole lot going on. And you got to ask yourself, did that match do Josh Edwards any favor? How'd you feel about that? Real quick.
Yeah, I thought that was nasty.
Right? Okay, it was horrible.
First of all, shout out to Joshua Edwards. Shout out to Ronnie Shields. We've been in support of your career. We've seen your amateurs. We have high hopes for you. So we want to see you do well. I think our issue is more so that we didn't see a improvement. Is that fair? Like an improvement from the last 3 fights going into this fight, because we didn't necessarily see you close the gap correctly on a basic manner.
Yeah, you didn't cut the ring off.
Cut the ring off, right? You didn't really use your jab.
To land the plane right on the nail where I think it is, it felt like he fought down to his competition.
Right.
And on the other side of the spectrum, it seems like a fighter like him benefits from matchmaking him up, right?
Yes.
Giving him better
put him in some tough fights. Yeah,
right.
No, I agree.
I mean, you got to measure it. Don't throw him with a top 15, top 10 heavyweight, but you got to make sure that it just seems like Josh Edwards is the kind of fighter who benefits off of good, tough matchmaking. Not to get him beat, but, fights that don't allow him to fall asleep at the wheel. And
this is the Zuffa concept, right? The Zuffa concept is, it's fine if Joshua Edwards then wants to go ahead and fight someone similar to him. That's also going to be 5-0, 6-0, 7-0, but we'll actually give him a tough time. Like it's closer to 50-50 than a fight in where even during the weigh-ins, everybody already was assuming Joshua Edwards was going to knock this guy out. And in you knocking him out, in you not knocking him out, it makes it look bad. It makes it look like you regressed, right? Respectfully. Yeah, that's where I was coming from, Clay, is that I feel like he didn't improve. Maybe he regressed. And what you're saying is he fought to the quote unquote level of his competition. So whose job is that supposed to be, Clay? Is that the fighter's job?
He's a golden boy fighter, man. And I'm not going to lie to you because I want to continue to move the needle. But is Golden Boy going to be able to facilitate the type of competition he needs to be in? How do you How did they do that? I'll be looking at Josh Edwards. I'm looking at the American heavyweight division right now. And once again, you can't help but bring up Zuffa, who's developing their heavyweight division right now, building around the Demazian Van Houders, bringing in Andy Ruiz. I don't know who the other two fighters are. We've speculated into it possibly being maybe a Jared Anderson or Michael Hunter. Who knows what it's going to be, but also watching what they're doing with F.A. Jogba and Charles Martin, and they're trying to build that division up. So it does seem like I don't know how the contract is working over there. I don't know what the next fight is they plan on putting Josh Edwards in the middle of. Maybe I have no idea, right? But I definitely want to acknowledge the fact that I saw it wasn't a good look for Josh Edwards. But anyway, that being said, we'll see how that plays out. I don't want to make it all about him. Shout out to those guys. Moving on the needle. Let's go to the main card here. I'm going off memory right here, but let's start off with the do you want to go with the Frank Martin? Not here. All right.
You want to start with that or the Beck versus Agbeko?
Okay, Beck versus Agbeko, right?
Agbeko, I think.
Agbeko, right?
It's the dude that I said, man, that guy looks built, and you told me, nah, he's gonna get killed.
Yeah, who? Agbeko?
Yeah, well, you told me Agbeko was gonna get killed.
I'll be honest with you, he didn't look that good. He was, he wasn't looking good. I felt like the bully was over kind of headhunting, trying to get him out of there. Kind of realized that guy wasn't supposed to be in the ring with him, and I think he kind of overshot a little bit. I don't know, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, did he overshoot it a little bit? Hold on a second. I want to get his name right because I know Bektimir Melikuziev.
Yeah,
it was Bektimir could use the activity as well. And where is he going? Right, that was a 168-pound fight, right?
Yep.
So the last time he fought was May of last year. He fought against Darius Fulgham, beat him in a very close decision, and undefeated Darius Fulgham. I think this fighter is a fighter that, I believe he was in the WBA conversation at one point in time, maybe, going for an interim or something of that nature. But his next step has to be towards a championship of some sorts, right? I don't know what the next fight is going to be. He did win the fight. I mean, obviously he stopped him. Agbeko, to me, just a front runner. Doesn't seem like, he obviously is in great condition and great shape, but doesn't seem like that guy is going to be able to compete at the high levels. It seems like we've seen him do it with David Morrell, come up short there bad, and not just in a loss, but just once again dominated to a large degree. Very similar to this one, was getting hurt on his back foot, trying to box, trying to get that respect, but wasn't able to generate the power to get the respect. And the bully just kept running him down, walking him down, and just ended the way it ended up. But what'd you see in that fight?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's what you told me that would happen, right? Beck's got a very particular style, but a little disappointed that, again, I've seen him so many times, Claymore, get headbutted. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Beck is super aggressive, like he's an aggressive type of fighter. The problem being, though, he doesn't use the jab a lot. He likes to throw that backhand as his lead hand.
Right.
And on southpaw or orthodox matchups, it's easy to get headbutted. So I don't know, man. I mean, when you're producing that many cuts this early in your career, that's scarring. That's not making your skin tougher, bro. That's making it weaker. So I would urge his coaches to get him to work on the jab and get him to work on the footwork. Having said that, though, I don't honestly know how close Beck would be for a world title shot, right? This is one of these weird scenarios where if this was the UFC, Beck would be like number 10, number 11 on the rankings, right? Is he, but is he good enough to fight the champ? I don't know, man. The 168 are killers. All right. Yeah. Iglesias is about to go fight for an IBF.
Right.
And he's a killer.
Christian Resendez.
Resendez. Even Resendez, right? Like, think about that fight. If Beck and Resendez fought, respectfully,
I got Beck. I got Beck, man.
Respectfully, I'd pick Resendez on that one.
I'm ready to see Beck in the conversation, though, right? Like, if he's gonna lose, he loses. But he's getting to a point into his career, and I believe at 168, where he's done enough to where the conversations need to be about that. I mean, I think it's time. The 168 is wide open. Terrence Crawford has vacated all the belts. We see Amanda Resendez. Looks like he's in negotiations with who's he in negotiations with right now? I want to say
I thought it was a Munguia.
I think it's Jamal. I think it's Jamal Charlo. I think
is it Jamal? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Jamal Charlo, you know what I'm saying? Like you said about Iglesias, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, we know what's going on as far as Hamza Shiraz and Christian and Billy and who they're fighting.
But there's an example right there. Do you think Beck could do a WBO fight against Hamza, or do you think he'd get beat?
He'd probably get beat.
Yeah. See?
But what is barbecue mildew time? What do we do to build up this guy? Like, how much more can we build him up? What kind of fights do we need to get him in that builds him up to the point to where we're favoring him at any point in time? Are we favoring this guy at some point in time? I don't know. Right. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Here he is. Yeah, Scoon Corleone says he's ranked number 2 in the WBA right now. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know what's next for him. We got to take a look at it and see what it is. The performance was a B performance. You know what I'm saying? He did dominate, but I think the opponent was just once again a front runner.
Right.
It wasn't to having a performance like that against a Jekpo. Not impressive, and I'm looking forward to see how they're going to move him. Once again, I believe he's a Golden Boy fighter, so another Golden Boy fighter. Let's see what he's able to, what Golden Boy is able to do for him as well. Let's move on to the next fight here. Hold on one second here, which might be the Frank Martin fight, right?
Frank Martin, Nahir Albright, who, by the way, I said on the live.
You did.
I said, Albright, man, he might bring something. And shout out to Nahir Albright with his singing career, bro. Somebody get him a record. Come on, man.
I've heard better.
But he's not a full-time singer. You know,
hey, I don't know. I just felt like, I ain't gonna lie to you, it was awkward. I just kind of like stayed quiet, waited for him to finish and move on. So
now here, when you're listening to our show, I just want to let you know you're invited to all Filipino karaoke's for life, bro.
I think you might get hurt now. Those Filipino karaoke's get real competitive, bro. I don't know, bro. You know what I mean? But hey, feel free to step in there, man. That's definitely a place to go and test your chops at. But look, man, going into this fight, Frank Martin returning from a long hiatus from Gervonta Tank Davis, had a fight with Rances Barthélemy, knocked him out, knockout of the year candidate, brought a new training team together, left Derek James, is now with Buddy McGirt. Right? I favored him to win this fight, potentially even stop acknowledging to hear Albright's Wu is a real good fighter, and we saw him coming off a victory with Kelvin Davis. But Kelvin Davis, he's decent, right? But once again, not proven so much. So this was going to be a big fight for Nahir Albright on the main card here. Going into this fight, talk to me, Reyes. What did you see going in, and what'd you think about going out?
Yeah, no, and again, I was very adamant about Albright on this one, possibly being the live dog that you could bet on. I had my feeling, and part of it was about Albright because of the incident happening, right? And him having a chip on his shoulder, and me knowing, okay, when you're a fighter and you're getting a stage like this, you're on the undercard of Ryan Garcia versus Barrios. There's gonna be a lot of media there. You're gonna show up, right? Could Albright be better though? Absolutely. I feel like if Albright was with Zuffa, honestly, he'd get a lot of different things that you normally as a fighter would have to pay for. And I feel like Albright would get a lot of the benefits of being a part of Zuffa. Having said that, part of the reason why I also felt like Albright was a live dog is I am not as impressed as some of you guys are about the Ghost. See, Frank Martin knocked out an old, pretty much done, who was it? Bartholomew, right? And then everybody talks about, wow, that was a heck of a knockout. Sure, man, if you want to count that, but I haven't really seen Frank Martin make the adjustments that we just saw him not make again, right? Remember how Tank knocked him out? Pretty much let him bust this load, and then, pause, right? And then Tank got him, chased him down. Well, what happened on this fight? Albright damn near almost knocked him out too. And we can 100%. Both agree that Albright is nowhere near the firepower that Gervonta Tank Davis is. So if Albright's doing that to you, bro, then Buddy McGirt, I got a suggestion. Maybe it's time for Frank Martin to sign with Zuffa and maybe go down to 135, man. Because
no, not 135. I disagree with that. Definitely not.
I mean 140 is a killer division, bro. I don't see Frank Martin,
but I genuinely believe that he outgrew the division 135, and I think that would be going backwards 100% for him. I'm not ready to throw Frank Martin into that category as him and Buddy McGirt 3 weeks together going into that Rance Barthélemy fight. This one was a whole entire camp but I saw a lot of good things from Frank Martin in this fight. I think he moved well. He did a lot of good things. Nahir Albright is just a gamed opponent, man. And he was in there with that kind of opponent. And I think on the opposite side of the conversation, I think Frank Martin benefits from this fight. I think he learns a lot about himself. I think Buddy has a lot to process going through that with Frank Martin. It was a draw. I'm here to see the rematch. Before I reserve any opinions one way or another on Frank Martin, let's see if they rematch that fight, put that together. Let's see what he looks like in his next fight, even if it's not Nahir Albright. Let's see how the matchmaking goes. And Frank Martin is somebody who started his professional career coming from an amateur career that I think he started boxing when he was like 15 years old, right? So, he's a late bloomer. He's somebody who doesn't have the pedigree of a Tank or a Shakur or, those type of fighters who've been boxing ever since they were 5, 6, 7 years old. Who knows how old they were when they started boxing.
Right.
A lot of good things from Frank Martin, but without a doubt, listen, man, that shot had to be a reminder, right? He's susceptible. He's a human being, bro. He got hit. He got on the J legs, but he did what he's supposed to do. He tied up Nahir Albright. Nahir Albright needs to work on his mouthpiece situation. That got in the way. What did you think about the referee getting in the way of that?
Well, the first time it dropped, he should have. I felt like the referee, and again, this is us being respectfully critical of the sport, but the referee should have called the timeout. So time kept clicking down the first time he went to get the mouthpiece. Then he called the timeout in the second. But at the end of the day, like, ref, man, you got to give Albright a chance to get the knockout. And I felt like he wasn't really. I'm not saying he was getting in the way like Harvey Dock was with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, do better, man. When somebody had a chance to come from behind, per se, and get a knockout, you got to give him a chance to get the knockout. I mean, in the UFC, they'll let you fight without the mouthpiece until there's a proper time to call break. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I think the ref kind of got in the way of that. I think there was definitely at least Frank Martin was going to get knocked down. It looked like he was definitely on his way of getting knocked down, and that would have definitely made a difference in a fight that ended up in a draw, right? So, whatever it is, what's next for Nahir Albright? What's next for Frank Martin? Frank Martin has a PBC behind him. We'll see how they move him. Nahir Albright, I'm not sure where he is right now.
Is he with Top Rank? Because if he's a free agent, bro, if he's a free agent, then Albright, frame his height could get him to 147. And there's enough people for Nahir to fight that he could do all right.
I don't know, like, it's kind of like the Lamont Roach thing with him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? This draw right here kind of puts him in a position to where, high risk, low reward. Obviously he's going to give you good fights, but at the same time, what's the reward in fighting Nahir Albright? Does that do anything for your career? Who does he fight next? I don't know. At 140, you know what I mean? We'll see how he moves as well, right? But I think the biggest thing for both those guys is a rematch. I think they should push for that, put those guys back in the ring together. Let's figure it out, and let's see what they're able to do. Let's see what they're able to put together for those guys. So that being said, moving forward, going into the next fight right here, this one right here, going into it, thought we knew it was going to be a rumble. We knew what the kind of fight, the possibilities of this fight, but there was some intangibles on the outside. And I'm talking about Gary Antoine Russell and Andy Hiroka, right? Gary Antoine Russell defending his WBA title, 140-pound title. He's in the conversation. Some people might call him the boogeyman of the division to a certain degree. We just seen Dalton Smith do what he did with Sabril Matias, but I think going before that fight, Gary Antoine was one of those guys who just couldn't get the big fights. So he ended up having to defend his title against a mandatory Andy Hiroka. Andy Hiroka, not that known here in the States, but we knew the kind of fighter Andy Hiroka was. So we knew that this fight had potential, a fight of the year candidate written all over it. I'm not too sure if that was a fight of the year candidate fight all the way, but it was a good fight. It was a real good fight. Ended up going Gary Antoine Russell's way. I didn't score it that way. I felt
I didn't score it that way either. Well, the thing is this, right? Prior to this fight, we were building it up as this might be the fight that steals the whole show. Okay. Right. Then the whole visa incident happens, which again, Mr. Honda, I don't know what's going on. I'm not saying it was you guys' fault. I don't know if you hooked up Andy with like a nice business class or first class suite so you could rest on the plane, but coming here 2 days before your fight, man, that's, it's rough. That's rough, especially when you're fighting someone the caliber Gary Antoine Russell, right? The fact that Andy Hiraoka did as good as he did, wow, bro. Wow. Right? Now we know how good he is, because my scorecard, I told you, and again, I'll have to rewatch it for you guys who'll disagree with me, but when I was doing it live scorecard, there was a couple of swing rounds where I was like, nah, man, I can't call that either way. So I'll score 10-10, right? But at the end of the day, when my scorecard got filled, I had 115-114 with Hiraoka winning. That was my scorecard, bro. And that's with me being fair, scoring 2 of those rounds, a 10-10. And that's with the minus round, too. That was a 10-8 round for Gary Antoine that I gave. Remember when they deducted? Round. Yeah, it clear low blow.
10th round,
but you, but you had it really clear for Hiraoka.
Yeah, I had a 116, 113. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Listen, it was one of those fights, because even Shakur Stevenson favored Gary Antoine in it. You know what I mean? And I've heard other people talk about it. Not us. It's 50-50. There's people who felt like Gary Antoine won the fight, and I saw just as many people who think Andy Hiraoka won the fight. So it's not a robbery. It's definitely not a robbery. You know what I'm saying? But what it did kind of expose to me to a certain degree with Gary Antoine Russell is he's not working off the back foot as well as I thought he would have. He looked like he was kind of limited in that space, and also doesn't like the Alberto Puello conversation, right? With what happened in that conversation resurfaced again when we had Andy Hiraoka working behind the jab, and seemed to be controlling the pace of the fight with that jab. Now Gary was able to slip that jab at times and do a lot of great inside work. Whenever they got inside, Gary Antoine in the first half of that fight was doing his thing. On the second half of that fight, though, Andy Hiraoka runs a body campaign second to none. One of the best body campaigns I've seen running a fight in a long time, man. Yeah. I actually thought Gary Antoine Russell was going to end up taking a knee at one point, because he was just getting punched in the body so much. Ultimately ended up getting hit in a low blow in the 10th round. But outside of that one little stain on Andy Hiroka's campaign, very effective with that with that body campaign. And I thought it was enough. I thought he won the championship rounds, and it was enough for him to walk away with a victory. I could have seen a draw. You know what I mean? Like, okay, a draw because he's not in his hometown, and maybe there was some swing rounds in there. But I thought the scorecards were crazy. I think one scorecard was like 117, 111, and the other two was like 116, 112, or something of that nature, all for Gary Antoine Russell. And I just didn't see the separation like that for Gary Antoine Russell in the fight, one way or the other, right?
Yeah, no, what exposed it's something we've been talking about, but again, you've explained this to me about the loyalty and the whole bit, but what it completely exposed, which is what we've all been saying for like the last few months, is Gary Antoine Russell, you need activity, brother. That's what you need. All right. I mean, you need just to fight every 3 to 6 months, like, it can't be this long pauses in between your career, because they're aging you out, man. I mean, you're the champ right now, and I really would rather see you back in the ring again by the summer. And hopefully that happens for you. Hopefully you're in the undercard of Benavidez versus Zurdo Ramirez, right? But yeah, no, Clay. I mean, Gary Antoine, it did 2 things at the same time. It showed what we've always known about Andy Hiraoka, the level that he's at, and Mr. Honda, Andy Hiraoka, maybe it's time for you guys to work with Dana White and Zuffa Boxing, because I think Andy could fill out the 147 just fine with that height. That height is crazy, bro. I don't know if at 140 Andy's really going to get a chance to fight Dalton Smith, or I mean, the whole IBF is a mess right now, right? So I don't know. I think for Andy, the best move is for him to move up to 47 and go with Zuffa. But Gary, man, I don't know, Clay. I mean, you tell me. This whole PBC thing to me is still weird, bro. I mean, are they doing a Fundura show? Are they not doing a Fundura show? Are they doing a Benavidez show? Are they not doing a Benavidez show? You got Floyd doing his own show in September, and we know PBC has nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? I mean, that show in September from Netflix that Floyd's doing might be what's helping pay the lawyers for the lawsuit. So I don't know, Clay. You tell me. What's best for Gary Antoine at this point?
Gary needs activity, man. And I think the PBC needs to, I mean, Gary Antoine to me is a star, could be a star in the making if he gets the right push. He's the kind of fighter fans can get behind. He has a legacy with his family. He goes for the knockouts. He's an exciting fighter, lets his hand go. I could see him in, a fight with him and Shakur Stevenson would be a great fight. But if he doesn't get the push and if he doesn't get the activity, it's a little disheartening to kind of see what's happening with him. And he is getting aged out because he's not getting younger, and fighting once every 12 to whatever months, or even close to it, even if it's every 10 months, it seems like a disservice to him. And the PBC has been reluctant to roll out their events the way I think they should. They've been, outsourcing a lot of their fighters to different platforms. And, even if they did that for Gary Antoine, allow him, this one right here, they outsourced him, right? They allowed him to be on this Ring magazine card.
Right.
And, and unfortunately for him, being on the Tank cards was kind of, I think, a way that he thought he was going to be able to come into the game, but Tank ended up having so many hiccups along the way for the past year and some change. He just kind of fell victim to that as well. I'm going to keep my eye close on it, you know what I'm saying? But I do think he should consider going somewhere that's going to get him more active. And I'm not going to even say Zuffa Boxing, right? Because at the end of the day,
maybe Matchroom.
Go
somewhere. Yeah,
right. Go somewhere that has the dates, that has the dates, that has the opponent that has the vision that makes more sense for you, because it's your career.
Right.
The PBC is great, loyalty is great, you know what I'm saying? But there's a way to do everything. Do it the right way. I'm not saying pop off like Conor did, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But figure it out. The conversation is an ugly conversation, but it needs to happen. What exactly do we have planned? How are we going to move this forward? Gary's a champion. How are you guys going to secure some unifications? What's next? We need a bigger and better picture, because Gary Antoine Russell is a very talented fighter who I think can benefit off of a company that believes in him and is going to push him the right way. It is what it is, right?
No, I'll end with this so we can move on to the main event. But this is just facts, guys. 2023, he has one fight against Kent Cruz. 2024, he has one fight against Alberto Puello, which he loses. 2025, he has one fight with Jose Valenzuela. That was March of 2025. So here we are a year later. He fights Andy Hiraoka. If you're telling me that I don't get to see Gary Russell in the ring again until 2027, bro, what are we doing, Clay? What are we doing to this guy? He's such a talent. What are we doing, though, man? He's 29 going on 30 already, Clay. It's time, bro. It's time.
Yeah, it definitely is time, man. We'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. So the big picture, man, the big story here that we're going to get to now, I'm sure everybody's been waiting to get on it. You know what I'm saying? I think that we were waiting on to see what was going to happen with this one. This was a big one, a big needle mover, man. Ryan Garcia, Mario Barrios, man. Ryan Garcia, I think we all see written on his face, star, right? Star written all over his face. He's got the following. He's got all these different things, but a fighter who 10 years in the space has never had a championship belt, never been a full champion before, and also filled with a bunch of antics that hurt his stock with a certain, with this culture, at least in this fan base. A lot of people, burnt a lot of bridges with a lot of boxing fans on the way he was carrying himself for the past 2 years. This fight was going to be the end all be all, because he came off that loss with Rolly Romero, and we knew that it was going to make or break him. It was time to barbecue or mildew, as the old people used to say, right? Time to barbecue ish or get off the pot, right? For Ryan Garcia going into this fight with Mario Barrios. Now, we can go into the speculation as far as how he got there, coming off of a loss, being reinstated by the WBC to put him back in the rankings, not only in the rankings, but put him in a title fight off of a loss. That was a gift in itself, but I think it spoke to how much the WBC, Oscar De La Hoya, how much they believe in this in this fighter's ability to be the face of boxing, and they wanted to see him get a belt around his waist. Was he going to be focused? Was he going to be dialed in? Was Mario Barrios going to have enough intangibles that he could bring into this fight to cause Ryan Garcia issues and beat him, obviously, right? We wanted Ryan Garcia not only to win this fight, but to win in a spectacular way. I think he checked all the boxes, right? I think he did. He checked all the boxes. He did everything. He did win in a spectacular way. He showed us the right hand existed, that it wasn't just about the left hook. He went a full what? 12 rounds, I guess, was this one? Was it 10 rounds or 12 rounds? 12 rounds, right?
No, it was a 12-rounder. Yeah,
he went the full 12 rounds, dominated, complete shutout, 12-0. You know what I'm saying? 11-1.
Oh, not according to the judges, by the way.
Yeah, 11-1 was ridiculous in my opinion. I think it was a legitimate 12-1. I don't see one round Mario Barrios won. Completely dominated it. Mario Barrios is a tough fighter, so didn't shock me that he lasted, that he didn't get knocked out. Wanted to see Ryan Garcia get that knockout, though, but he didn't, but still dominated. It is what it is. So now we got the victory. We got it out the way. Everybody's looking for him. He calls out Shakur Stevenson. The biggest fight that could be made in boxing right now, potentially him and Devin Haney in that rematch. He has a lot of options. Conor Ben, a potential option. There's arguments in there to say that Ryan Garcia is the bag, that he is somewhat of the face of boxing to a certain degree in certain criteria that he's checked, right? Not to discount what Shakur Stevenson was able to accomplish a couple of weeks ago, you know what I mean? Or what Devin Haney was able to accomplish months ago when he beat Brian Norman Jr. But that being said, what's next going into the fight? What'd you think? What'd you think about his performance and what's next?
Yeah, no, again, I've been eviscerated for saying this in the past, but I'm going to say it, Clay. I don't know Ryan Garcia personally. I don't know him as a person. I don't know him as a human being. And a lot of times, if you don't know that person, maybe they're putting on an act, maybe they're not. But talent-wise, I've always been a fan of Ryan Garcia in terms of his potential talent and how good he could be for boxing, right? This is a kid, again, who got a lot of backlash for being a social media star and having his own Hollywood TV series. He also won 215 amateur fights. He also beat Devin Haney 3 times in the amateurs. He also fought Shakur Stevenson and all these guys in the amateurs. This guy had a really great amateur career. Okay. Goes pro. He's fast tracked, becomes super popular, Jake Paul style. I think I told you that, it was my therapist who was like, I explained to me who Ryan Garcia is. And I said, if Jake Paul could actually fight, that's who Ryan Garcia is. Like that's the fact. And I think all we saw and why so many people who were against Ryan looking as good, because I wasn't one of them. I straight up said the right hand was going to be a major factor in what Ryan's going to show, right? And everybody keeps talking about his left hook, but not giving him credit, not only for the explosion of his speed, but the fact that when he throws the right hand, there's no telegraph to it at all. It's very hard to predict when it's coming, right? Which is how he knocked out Duarte, how he hurt Duno, and like he's hurt a lot of people. So the talent was always there. It was the work ethic that we were looking for. And I think him being back with his dad, him being back with his wife, who, remember, he divorced his wife, things went on, and then now he's back with her, right? Like, I think he's finally settling in. And at 27 years old, like it or not when I say this, guys, but Ryan Garcia is good for boxing. This is the Oscar de la Hoya of today, right? If Haney fights him, Haney to us is the better resume, higher level. We could say all this, but in terms of mainstream popularity, Haney is nowhere near where Ryan Garcia is at. So it would benefit Haney to fight Garcia and beat him in a huge stage like Netflix or whatever the big stage would be. I would like to think that hopefully that's not a pay-per-view. Hopefully it's something that can get a lot of eyeballs to it so we could see an epic fight like this happen, right? Maybe this is like a Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran type of a fight. I'm talking about popularity, guys. Again, I'm not trying to say that Ryan Garcia is Duran, and I'm not trying to say that Devin Haney is Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm talking about selling the fight, the popularity part of it. But yeah, did he do what he was supposed to do against Mario Barrios? Come on, Clay. The only thing he didn't do that he was supposed to do to Mario Barrios is knock him out, which is what I've been saying from the get-go, dude. Mario Barrios lost to Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's old, period. All right? And Abel Ramos really beat Mario Barrios. So, all respect to Mario Barrios. I don't know what Goosen did with him, except for maybe get him in shape. I think it's high time for Mario Barrios to take at least a long break and revisit his career and think about, do you want to continue on? What I would suggest to you, though, Mario Barrios, is if you want to continue on, maybe PBC is not the place. I don't know. It's up to you.
Well, I mean, they pushed him pretty well, all considering the kind of fighter he was. They kept him a champion for a while, put him in some good opportunities. He went to MVP promotions. I'm sure he got a decent amount of money to go fight Abel Ramos. He fought against Manny Pacquiao. I'm sure he got some decent money to do that. For the most part, they've done right by him, considering the caliber of fighter that he is. They moved him like a flagship fighter to a degree. They protected him. They you know what I mean? It is what it is, right? He has nothing to complain about. And even with this Ryan Garcia fight, taking the loss the way he did, he walked away, I'm sure, with a pretty bag. You know what I mean? Headlining another pay-per-view card against a big ticket seller, a big needle mover in Ryan Garcia. So I don't know if he does leave. If he does stay, I say stay with the PBC, because anywhere else you go, I don't know if they're going to show you the grace that the PBC and the kind of competition that you've gotten and the opportunities you've had at the money that you've gotten. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily a solution for him. Ryan Garcia, man, I was impressed. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to keep it level, because at the end of the day, I'm acknowledging also that Mario Barrios didn't play his role. He didn't compete the way I thought he should compete. And maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was maybe I gave him a little too much confidence in him being able to perform to a certain degree and execute and be a well-rounded fighter going into it. That's not Ryan Garcia's fault. That's not his problem, though. He did the job. He could have easily just went to the left hook and went for his signature. Maybe that would have gotten the knockout, but he decided to show his footwork. He showed us a great jab. He showed us a good backhand. He showed us a lot of different wrinkles to his game that we questioned.
Uppercuts, body shots. Uppercuts. I mean, overall broad spectrum
of good boxing coming from Ryan Garcia. And I think he raised the question, okay, now this Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, right? Am I picking Ryan Garcia over Devin Haney if they fight each other again? I'm not.
No, we're not. Well, look, first of all, we've already gone on the record and say to everybody, we're never going against Devin Haney. 100%. So you're not going to hear us say we're going against Devin Haney. All right.
Because he just earned that kind of respect, but way more competitive than I thought it would be, for sure, because of Ryan Garcia's performance, right? He definitely earned that respect.
Right. And what we're really talking about is in this show at ATP Combat Media, we're always trying to we're talking not just to you guys on the live chat right now, who are the boxing aficionados, the ones who are really like into it, right? We're trying to educate the casual mainstream space of sports fans who watch more football and baseball and basketball than they do boxing. And in that space, we are telling you that the only fight to make next, Turkey Alex Sheikh, listen to us. The only fight to make next is Haney Garcia, and I will tell you why. If you blow this and let Haney fight someone else, and Haney injures his hand, let's even go with the whole Haney's going to move up to 154 and fight Xander. Right? Unless he absolutely wins, this fight might never happen, right? And if he does win, the fight still might never happen, because Ryan just finally got to 147, right? If Haney wins and he moves up to 154, who's to say that he's even going to come back down? Now, secondly, right? Now let's go to the Ryan side. Ryan's coming off of a hand injury that he said he re-hurt after the surgery, right? Which is the reason why he said he should have knocked out Barrios, but he didn't. If you don't make this fight right now, who's to say that Ryan won't get his ass beat by Shakur or Conor Benn because of that hand injury or whatever? Like, let's be smart.
I like it, Angelo. I'm being honest with you,
smart.
Man. Yeah.
Haney Garcia.
I like where you're going with this. I like where you're going with this, bro, because at the end of the day, there are decisions that need to be made. And coming from the Haney camp, who've been very strict and very strict on this VADA testing, this 365 testing. And, Devin put out the statement, the ship sailed. And it's like, you guys might not want to let this ship sail, because timing is everything in this sport. You know what I mean? Right? Timing is everything, right? Matches being made at the right time, get you the right amount of money, get you the right notoriety, get you the right eyes on the sport that make these events as epic as they can be. And right now, without a doubt, the whole boxing space is screaming. They want this fight. So Bill has changed his tune. Shout out to the Boxing Voice. I know he's been on there.
Shout out to Ness for yesterday's interview. You guys should check it out, because Bill said a lot. But yeah, shout out to Ness. Shout out to the Boxing Voice.
He's trying to salvage this and put this together and put some context to everything, and just showing that, listen, we can't deny the elephant in the room either, right? The money is there, and the fight is in demand. Now, Ryan Garcia on the other side of the conversation, who kind of like also dismissed this fight next, at least, right?
Yeah.
Said, no, I want Shakur Stevenson, right? Is he going to change the tune of his conversation? Because he seems to have a lot of options on the table. There's money on the table. I would argue no money larger than a Devin Haney rematch. But still, as he stated in the interview in the ring, listen, that fight, he said in the post conference, that fight is always going to be there. He feels confident in himself and feels like I can take a lot of other fights. There's money for me to make. I could fight Rolly, rematch Rolly again. I could fight Shakur. I could fight Conor Benn. I can do a lot of things outside of Devin Haney. So he's also shown that he's not that pressed. I think the elephant in the room is Turki Al-Sheikh. Turki Al-Sheikh has to get involved in this conversation and give these guys an offer they can't refuse. Let them know that you guys are the next fight. I think without a doubt, Devin goes for it. Devin and Bill go for it. They're businessmen. They're gamed. And I think this works for them. They're going to have to dial it back a little bit on that strict ass VADA testing they want. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Garcia has been in the VADA pool for a minute. I think his manager debunked that whole idea that he wasn't in the pool anymore. With Devin Haney was saying that he wasn't in the pool and that's why the ship sailed. Ryan Garcia's manager was like, that's not true, bro. He's been in the pool. He was in the pool for this fight. He was in the pool for his fight against Rolly Romero. He's been in the VADA pool, bro. So I don't know. That kind of made Devin look, maybe he might have raised some questions that's like, damn, bro, well, if that's not the case here, I'm making that up. Do y'all just not want the fight? But leaving that where it's at in the past, right now, Bill is clearly campaigning for the fight. I think it's the next fight to put together. What do you think Ryan does, though?
Yeah, well, here's what's funny, right? So if you guys have been, respect to you guys, by the way, and we appreciate you if you've been an avid listener to the show. But it was just a few months ago that Devin Haney beats Brian Norman, right? And when we started off the year, we had an entire segment on how Devin Haney was the money man. Everything's going to move because of how Devin Haney wants to do it. And then Shakur Teo happened, right? And when Shakur Teo happened and Shakur pulled Conor Benn into the ring, we were like, well, now Shakur's the money man because everybody wants to fight Shakur. Ryan's talking about coming down and wait to fight Shakur. Conor's, saying, okay, no problem. I'll do the rehydration clause. Please fight me, Shakur, right? Like pretty much, right? Now Shakur's the money man. And then now, here we are, Claymore, February 21st. Ryan Garcia is the money man. And I'll tell you why he's the money man, okay? It's like free agency, guys. If you're paying attention to the NFL right now, shout out to my Raiders. By the way, shout out to Jai Apataya. I can't wait to see you, brother, on March 8th. We're hoping to get you on the show maybe after March 8th, but shout out to you for officially being a part of the Raider Nation. We appreciate you, Jai. Jai said he's loyal. Raider Nation is for him now. So shout out to Jai. But having said that, Clay, like free agency, Conor Benn just set the bar. How much is a welterweight supposed to get paid? Apparently $15 million, right? So if that's the bar for Conor Benn, then can we at least say someone like Ryan, who only got $8 million this last weekend, could at least match $15 million? And would you say that a Ryan Garcia versus Conor Benn fight at Wembley Stadium would move the needle both in the American space and outside the global space of boxing?
I think, it checks all the boxes. What I'm saying, I guess, we can do this all day, right? We can put these scenarios together all day. Ryan Garcia has a lot of options. He's literally jumped into the driver's seat in these conversations, in all the one, whether it's the Conor Benn, whether it's Shakur, whether it's Devin Haney, whether it's Rolly Romero, he's in the driver's seat. I mean, you gotta recognize what it is. I know, look, some people are gonna push back at it, but look, I don't got time for it. Ryan Garcia is in the driver's seat. The question is, what is he gonna do? Devin Haney, you know what I'm saying, directly after that Brian Norman Jr. fight, seemed like he was in the driver's seat for a while. Then Shakur Stevenson had his performance against Teofimo Lopez, felt like he was in the driver's seat. But without a doubt, Ryan Garcia with that performance, you could only imagine any promoter who's working with him. Obviously Oscar De La Hoya seems to be doing working with him right now.
We'll see.
Right, we'll see, right? But Ryan Garcia has had this weekend. He's back. And you can see it in his face. You can see it, and you can see it in his conversation. He is back in rare form, man. And everybody's waiting to find out what this man is going to say and what his decision is going to be. Even it's amazing. And I got to give Terrence Crawford his props.
Yep.
And Turki Al-Sheikh their props for bringing this energy into the space. Just the competitive energy of wanting to be part of the biggest events and the biggest fights, and not just wanting to ride. It's a new era. It's no longer one fight. Like, I don't think Ryan Garcia makes the biggest fight in the world fighting Tiger Johnson, for example.
No,
it's not just the A side carrying it anymore, but I'm loving the motivation behind these fighters to make the biggest fights possible.
Right.
You know what I mean? Shakur wanting to do it. Keyshawn wanting to do it. Shout out to Keyshawn for chasing down Devin and trying to make that fight happen. There's just so many things going on in the space right now that is so great for boxing. Even the promoters are becoming competitive. You know, with Eddie Hearn and Dana White and even Oscar De La Hoya, right? Everybody's becoming competitive. They know they can no longer put on wishy-washy fights. The ones who are still stuck on that business model look like they're going to fade away. But the leaders in the group, the Dana Whites, the Eddie Hearns, they know what it takes. The fighters are empowered more than they've ever been because they have more options than they've ever had. I'm excited about the whole entire space, man. I really am. I'm hoping that Turki gets involved in this, man, because that's the only thing I think is going to be the official tiebreaker as far as what Ryan does next. He may be considering all these different options, but if Turki gets in there, let's see the Devin Haney Ryan Garcia fight. That's the one. I'm in agreement with you, what you said, because if Ryan goes and fights Shakur or fights somebody else and loses, we don't see that rematch. Granted, maybe we see Shakur and Devin Haney at the end of that fight. Maybe we see some other things, but Ryan is the natural 147 pounder. He's the one with the storyline. Devin Haney and him have that unfinished business, bad blood there. I just don't think it gets any better than that.
Right. I mean, and again, like I want to add this so that you guys understand, especially for our replay gang who tend to listen to us a lot when you guys are on the road, and for the mainstream casual space. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney moves the needle because of a really good storyline, right? 2024
Hold on
happened.
1 second. I don't want to cut you off. 60 plus people in the building. Hit the like button. Take a moment right now, guys. I'm assuming that you're mesmerized by the quality content we're giving you right now, but hit the like button. Do that for me right now. Helps the algorithm. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I apologize, Reyes. Go ahead, man.
No. It's diabolical, guys. We're trying to continue to grow, right? We're giving you specials like Read the Room, right? Another now it's called Read the Ring. Read the Ring. Read the Ring episode 2 is going to drop, and we're going to explain the current state of boxing and how significant the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight on Netflix and why that matters to boxing in general, right? Don't be diabolical, y'all. All right, get us to 100 likes at least, please, right? Respectfully, yeah, man, I get it. You guys are mesmerized with Claymore's beautiful bald head and mesmerizing take. So, but what I was saying about Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney is to the mainstream listeners, listen, if you don't do this fight right now, if you don't do Haney Garcia, can Garcia move the needle for, a global boxing space in fighting Conor Benn next? 100%, right? He would represent America. He would represent the Golden Boy side of America, and Conor Benn would represent the Golden Boy side of the UK, and everybody would get involved, right? India would get involved, Australia, everybody's watching that fight. What's it mean, though, right? What's it mean? Win, lose, draw, that's not going to move. That's not a Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran type fight, okay? If he fights Shakur, it's a little murky, because now Shakur is like, we should fight at 144. Shakur already stated we don't need the belts anyways. So this becomes one of those weird BMF titles, baddest mother effer title, kind of like what the UFC does, right? It's a BMF belt. And hey, shout out to Shakur, man. Shout out to Shakur for wanting to do that. Shout out to Ryan Garcia for wanting to do it too. Again, though, does that move the needle if we're being honest? Because what's the storyline for Shakur and Ryan? We have a singular storyline with Shakur. We have a different storyline for Ryan. But the two of them together, other than trying to tell a story about how they fought in the amateurs, and not great. But Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia storyline, boy, the fact that we cannot unseat, blame Garcia and clenbuterol all you want, but people are people. All right. And you could literally type in Haney versus Garcia on YouTube right now, and you will see at least 3 different YouTubes that show that fight. We saw Haney get hurt. We saw Haney get dropped. We saw Haney get saved by the referee. So I think Haney wants his payback. I think Ryan believes that Haney's got PTSD from that fight. This is the storyline, Clay. This is the storyline that you capitalize on right now. This is Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard 2, right? Remember when Sugar Ray Leonard versus Roberto Duran 2 happened? And then they had Ray Charles singing, American the Beautiful, and it was in St. Louis, and they filled out an entire football stadium. This is that fight, guys. Haney Garcia would fill out, would do very well. I don't know where you guys want to do it, but if you told me that it was Madison Square Gardens, I 100% believe it'll sell out. If you tell me it's the T-Mobile, I 100%, I believe it'll sell out. I think you should put it in the stadium and see how many seats you could actually sell in that fight. Yeah,
Allegiant again. I think this could match Canelo, Terrence Crawford. I think the people would go crazy over this fight, man. It's such a big fight. It's such a big fight, man. And it is because, like I said, just look at Bill now. Back out in these YouTube streets, he's pushing for the fight to happen. And just Ryan has taken control, man. And we got to get past the silliness of it all. I hate to keep doubling back on it, but this is going to be on the back of. This is on the back of Turkey. Ryan is like open to whatever. He's like, bro, I could do whatever I want to do. How does the fight end? I don't know. I don't got time. We'll find out together, ladies and gentlemen, when they fight each other. You know what I'm saying? That is one of those fights, right? It's one of those fights where I don't even care about the conversation about who's going to win. I'm sure there are plenty of Devin Haney supporters who are going to give multiple arguments as to why Devin Haney is going to dominate this fight. But trust you me, there's just as many, if not more, Ryan Garcia supporters who don't see Devin Haney making out of this fight conscious, right? Ryan is dialed in. And I love what you said earlier also about his father. We questioned that combination. What was that going to be, a good or a bad thing? You know what I mean? 100% it was a good thing. Is that the move going forward? Maybe. I don't know, right? I think the big thing that Henry Garcia did for Ryan Garcia in this fight is it made him confident. It had to feel good to have the support of his father. No more looking over his shoulder. No more wondering if Joe Goosen is going to go ahead and
tell people your injuries,
tell people his
whatever.
business and be a mole. No more questions about is he sharing the time with the Derrick James and Anthony Joshua and Frank Martin and all those fighters he had in his gym. No more Eddie Reynoso, him being second, third fiddle to Canelo Alvarez, or even, maybe for whatever reason not being comfortable with Eddie Reynoso's system. Back into a place where he's confident in his team, and that plays a big part in this game. And you know how big I am on boxing being a team sport in so many ways, right? It is a team sport. And when a fighter with the potential that Ryan Garcia has gets that team, it's almost like that it's a priceless, you can't put a price on the value of that. Right. And he showed what that looks like, a confident Ryan Garcia looks like inside the ring when he fought Mario Barrios Saturday, for sure, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, man. Let me see here. Let me see. Carl Brown salutes you. He says, I do believe, and I've been saying this for years, that Devin can definitely beat Stevenson. I've been saying this for okay, I thought he was saying it about Ryan. But as far as Shakur Stevenson is concerned, what does he do next? Right? He has options on the table as well, but he may have to step out the way for this one. This might be bigger than rap, right? This is kind of like Jerron Boutin is getting out of the way of Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, right? Like, you got an argument that you could be in there trying to make it happen, but at the same exact time, this is history in the making, bro. You got to just get out the way if this is the fight that can be made. And if he does, where does Shakur Stevenson go from there?
Shakur Stevenson, like the Drake song said, you got everything. Mm-hmm. You cannot complain. Because the truth is, Clay, he just had a hell of a performance against the Ring Magazine champion, the 2-time Ring Magazine champion in Teofimo Lopez, who, as you've seen on his latest interview yesterday with Inside the Ring with Coppinger, he's in the humble state of himself now, right? He's very thankful. He continues to thank everybody. Teofimo Lopez is moving up to 147, clears the way for Shakur, who is the king of 140. I think the eye test will tell everyone who actually watches boxing the way we all do here in the space right now that I can't make an argument for Gary Antoine to be competition for Shakur. I think Shakur would kill him, especially based on that last performance I just saw, right? I can't do Richardson Hitchens. Bro, are you going to be 140? Because we're not going to kill you the way Timothy Bradley was killing you on his podcast. But come on, man. All right, move up to 147, get out of the way, or do a unification like Claymore's been saying. Do unification with Gary Antoine Russell so you don't have to worry about this rehydration clause, right? Shakur
we didn't even talk about that. We
can. Let me finish this though. Shakur Stevenson versus Pitbull Cruz, which Shakur, by the way, mentioned on the Najee interview. He said, "Hey, you know what? I'd love to fight Pitbull Cruz because he is someone that a lot of people know, and that's what Shakur wants. He wants the big fights, right? He wants stadium filled. He wants to be the guy that's bringing in the crowds, and Pitbull Cruz would do that. But we all know what Shakur would do to Pitbull Cruz, respectfully to Isaac Pitbull Cruz. But you're getting spanked, right? Like Shakur's in a different level, right?
Well, but that being said, like, who does Shakur get in the ring with?
And that's what I was about to say.
I mean,
but that's what I was about to say. Right. Is, to me, the curiosity is there on a UK event with Dalton Smith, right? This would be Shakur's I don't want to call it a gimme because it's unfair. I'm the one that predicted Dalton Smith would win. I told you guys they move different in the UK. I told you he was going to knock out Matias, which he did, right? Dalton Smith is the curiosity pick to me, okay? The only problem with this is Shakur doesn't like the WBC, okay? So I don't know what's going to happen with that particular belt if Shakur and Dalton Smith were to fight, but I do think there's value in Shakur versus Dalton Smith. Now, that's if we stay in this whole, hey, Shakur wants a big event. Dalton Smith is 19-0, undefeated, super popular in the UK, so you got the event thing. But in my opinion, Clay, I honestly believe that Shakur being the free agent that he is, they've already done the interview together. They've already done the face-to-face. Agreements have already been made. And dare I say, maybe that's why this particular person signed with Zuffa, is because an agreement was made and Eddie couldn't put it together. But Conor Benn versus Shakur Stevenson sure makes sense to me. Because if you're Shakur Stevenson right now, and you just saw Dana White give $15 million that everyone in the space, including all the MMA fighters like Sean O'Malley and everybody else, Demetrius Johnson, they're all talking about, I can't believe Conor Benn's making $15 million. Well, guess what, guys? That's what boxing market is like. So that's a whole nother conversation that we'll probably do as the Read the Ring episode at some point. Right. But understand something. If you're paying Saquon Barkley X amount of money, right, and you believe you're Shakur Stevenson, you believe you're better than Saquon, you're going to ask for at least the same exact amount of money or more. So are you honestly telling me, Claymore, that Shakur Stevenson wouldn't go to the UK on May 31st on Sky Sports for 15 to 20 million to fight Conor Benn? I think that's a pretty good first Zuffa boxing title belt.
It's definitely an option. It's definitely an option for him, and the dates work as well because he doesn't want to fight more than twice a year. I think that would be the end of his year right there, though. So that's something to kind of take into consideration. Would he rather be on, let's say, Canelo's card, fight Isaac Cruz just off the strength of the money and also the magnitude of the card, or would he rather be on this UK stage? I think there's arguments on both sides where he can go with this. It's all, so many different angles to hit this from. But that's definitely a legitimate option. Him fighting Conor Benn, a fight that he called Conor Benn into the ring for. Conor Benn said he was ready to make that fight happen next. Dana's not blind. He sees there's interest behind it. This is going to happen in the UK. We know Shakur wants to be on that stage. He wants to be in front of 50, 60,000 people, and he knows he can get that in the UK. He'd love to have that in America, but he knows it's hard to kind of get that without that perfect dance partner like Ryan Garcia, for example, right? But if Ryan and Devin seem to kind of be the ones that have to deal with unfinished business, he'll have to step to the side and allow that to happen. But he still has his own career that he needs to pay attention to, and activity is important. Does he take that fight with Conor Benn in the UK, allow Dana White to promote it, do it under a Zuffa banner, or does he wait it out for September, you know what I mean, and jump on that Canelo Alvarez versus whoever he's going to fight, Carl Mexico against the world, and, fight a co-headliner against a Isak Pitbull Cruz, right? No, man, it's a lot of options for him, man. And Dalton Smith is there as well, man. I don't know, man. It's just so much. I can't call it, but I love not being able to call it, Angelo. I love not being able to call it, bro.
You guys are going to hear a lot of different speculations, but again, read, follow the tea leaves, all right? You got a free agent in Tio. You got a free agent in Shakur. You got a free agent in Devin, right? A lot of free agency going on right now. Free agency fever in boxing, Clay. And the money, it needs to go to whoever's willing to pay it, right? So right now, the starting cap has been set. 15 million apparently is good enough to get someone who is a non-world champion, but certainly moves the needle in every possible way outside the USA. So if that's the price, what's the price for Devin Haney? What's the price for Shakur? What's the price for Ryan Garcia's next fight? So I'm excited, Clay. And by the way, all these guys are 29, 28, 27 years old. I'm excited to see where Tio ends up. Honestly, man, I am excited. I'm upset at Richardson Hitchens for not doing what he said he would do, right? I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, it doesn't look good into space, man. All right, Timothy, I'll say what Timothy Bradley said so that you don't see that it's not me and Claymore saying it to you. Timothy Bradley actually said this. He basically called you a punk for already making the weight,
right? And
then you not jumping in the ring because you knew you were going to get your ass beat by Duarte. Again, that's not Angelo Reyes saying it. That's Timothy Bradley saying it.
Right.
Feel free to go to his podcast. All right.
Right.
Having said that, though, Clay, how do you feel about the fact that here's Richardson Hitchens, who did a lot of talking, a lot of I can fight Haney, I can do this, I can do that, and he couldn't even get into ring with Duarte, man. How do you feel about him as a world champion?
It's been a crazy past 2 years for Richardson Hitchens, man. We've been talking about him on and not in a good way for the past 2 years, talking about him. And this right here was a cherry on top of it all, right? This right here is the tip of the iceberg conversation, because it's been a pattern with Richardson Hitchens. And once again, this is all about the Richardson Hitchens conversation, are about fighters who are in weight classes that they're not supposed to be in. You know what I mean? Struggling to make weight, continuing to push the needle and trying to leverage the accomplishments he made in a division, holding a belt, but doing it in spite of his own abilities, to make weight and compete at the highest level. You know what I mean? There were always fights there for Hitchens to make. After he won that IBF title, he could have unified with Gary Antoine Russell. He could have made those fights, but he stayed away from those fights. And that unification would have made him not be susceptible to the rehydration clause. So you got to put all the blame on Hitchens. He gets the blame here. There's no empathy for him. I don't know what he does next. He burnt bridges with his promoter and Eddie Hearn on the back end of getting that victory against Liam Paro. It looked crazy, or Cambosis, was it? You know what I'm saying? It looked crazy for him to do that. The one guy who supported him when he was down and out and didn't have anything going for him, coming off that bad deal he had with Mayweather Promotions, he just jumped into this bag of, I'm worth this amount of money. He just started pricing himself out of so many different opportunities. It's almost karma that it comes full circle to this point right now, to where clearly he couldn't make that weight. Clearly he was having issues. We saw it on him before the weigh-ins. We knew that it was going to be very difficult for him to make this weight, and we also knew that Oscar Duarte was going to be a very tough opponent for him to be depleted in front of, that he needed to be strong. He needed to be the full version of himself to compete in this fight. Obviously, him and his team knew that as well, and they made the decision, which I'm going to tell you I think was the right decision. Why put him in that ring if you know what's going to end up happening? But at the same time, can I do anything for you as far as what the scrutiny you're receiving? No, I can't. So what does he do next? He has no home. He's not with Matchroom. It's just him and Keith Connolly. Now, Keith Connolly's been working close with Zuffa Boxing. He was the one who looks like he brokered the deal with for Conor Ben and Zuffa. I think Richardson Hitchens does well at Zuffa. I think he can be in those big fights over there. He goes up to 147. There's no 140 division at Zuffa, and he makes it happen over there. If he's going to stay here, we've talked about already. Unify with Gary Antoine Russell next. That
would make sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Or leave the division. I don't want to even see him fight against Adolfo, or whatever his name is. I can't remember what his name is.
Lindolfo Delgado,
right. Delgado.
Same manager as Virgil Ortiz. Rick Morigian has already put out a statement that in writing, he is exercising the absolute written rule that states it didn't matter what happened this last weekend. It only matters that Delgado is next for whoever the IBF champion may be. And if I'm being honest, bro, I'd honestly rather see Delgado versus Duarte. I think that's a perfect fight you put on the undercard of a Benavidez versus Zurdo Ramirez, Mexican versus Mexican, just like Zurdo versus Benavidez is. So yeah, man, I think it's time, Richardson Hitchens, for you to go to 147, and it's time for you to go get that Zuffa belt.
Yeah, it has to happen. Shout out to Big Herm, man, with the super chat, man. Hiroko versus Hitchens at 140 title fight. Japan wins. I mean, nah, man. Hiroko wins.
Yeah, Hiroko wins. Yeah.
You got to get away from it. It's over for that. I think Hitchens is a great fighter, bro. He's a great boxer, bro. But this thing he's doing with these weight cuts, it's just taken away from the whole experience. He needs to unify, make it worth it, or he needs to move on, man. He's in the division too long. He doesn't look good. He doesn't look good. He didn't look good at the press conference. He's not looking good, bro. And having to stay inside of 10 pounds, not being able to rehydrate the night before, he's going to eventually get knocked unconscious, and it could change his whole career. He knows that at this point. He couldn't make the fight this time around, canceling hours before the fight, literally made the weight that morning. Nobody's even believing him. I've heard Robert Garcia speak on it. Clearly, I've heard Oscar De La Hoya speak on it. We've heard Oscar Duarte speak on it. Nobody believes that he moved out of this fight because he got ill. I mean, not ill like a regular ill, maybe ill from being dehydrated. You know what I'm saying? From not being able to rehydrate. So he has to move up or unify. And I'm leaning more towards move up, to be honest with you, because I think Gary Antoine Russell knocks him out. I think 140 is just too much for him to make. And I'm hoping 147 that it's not too much. I'm hoping he didn't stay there so long that when he gets to 147 that's too much for him to make.
Right. And I want to throw this out too for you guys who, again, we're trying to explain to you just the landscape of boxing and that it is a very tight-knit group. So Keith Connolly has basically burned the entire DAZN Eddie Hearn bridge. So you will, when I say you will never see Dalton Smith versus Richardson Hitchens, you will never see Dalton Smith versus Richardson Hitchens. That's not even an option.
No, I don't think you'll never see it. I think Eddie might be interested in unification.
Right now, dude, he won't. No, because that gives money to Hitchens. Eddie just
Eddie's
yesterday.
Not going to let nothing get in the way of Eddie. I don't think Eddie's like that. I think Eddie is business first.
I understand, but do you think the zone will sit there and go, "Yeah, we're willing to work with a guy who screwed us twice"?
Yes.
He screwed us twice, bro. Richardson Hitchens has screwed us twice already. Because remember, the first time is he was supposed to fight on the 31st. So DAZN was already mad at Hitchens for after the win, right? And then Keith Connolly did the funny business. Nah, bro. Now, Dalton Smith versus Richardson Hitchens on a unification. Gary Antoine Russell will get the money bag before Richardson Hitchens does. Keith Connolly, listen.
Yeah.
Best move for you is to go to Zuffa right now.
Eddie Hearn might have to argue with DAZN on this one, man. If Hitchens is ready to fight Dalton Smith, that might be the fight to make because Dalton Smith can unify. That's low-hanging fruit. He's in a weak point right now. If you don't believe in Dalton Smith, that's another thing. But if you believe Dalton Smith can take that fight there, you allow that fight to happen, man. You make it in England. You make it Dalton Smith in his backyard. You allow him to get a big victory in front of that audience. You allow him to be the only unified champion in the division. There's a lot of pros to that fight happening. There's some cons there as far as the personal, emotional attachment to his decision making, but there's also the business of boxing that is undefeated in this sport. We just saw Conor Benn just show you how the business of boxing trumps all emotional attachments. I think that's a fight that makes sense for Dalton Smith. It's an easier fight for Dalton Smith, I think, at this point, or it's reasonable for them to see it as an easy fight. You know what I mean? I think Hitchens is still an issue. I think he's still a great boxer. And Dalton will have to cut that ring off and do a lot of things to make it happen to get that victory. But, there's a lot harder fights as far as unification is concerned in the division. He's the weakest link.
Right. No, I agree. Hey, before we do end today, I want to mention that did you happen to see what I sent you? the 94 current signed fighters to Zuffa. Remember that the goal is to get to 200.
What's their minimum goal? Or
yeah. So there's 90. So guys, if you go to Zuffa Boxing on Instagram right now, you'll see the 94 people 100% signed to their contract, to their roster. Right now, again, there's going to be other news breaking soon about Andy Ruiz, who Dan Rayfield's already broke that said he's going to be signing with Zuffa, and we're obviously waiting to see, is it Shakur? Is Shakur signing a $15 million or more deal with Dana on a one-off to fight Conor? So there'll be more signings. But I do find it interesting that some of the names in here, Clay, is ones that we've talked about in the past. Mark Magsayo being a big name, right? Mark Magsayo, former world champion. And I know you don't credit Mark Magsayo as much for that win as a world title as I do. But Mark Magsayo versus Rayo Valenzuela sounds good for the first Zuffa 135 championship, if that's the way it's going to move. Former world champion Kolmatov's on it. But there's this kid who, remember I was saying I was looking to see if Jared Anderson would be on it. Right. You know which Anderson it is, dude? It's Jarday Anderson. That's 6'5", 11-1 heavyweight coming out of the East Coast, I think. So, I'm not saying Jared Anderson won't sign. I'm just saying Jarday Anderson did sign. So, so there was an Anderson that got signed for sure. But yeah, interesting roster overall. Again, some of the names you guys should recognize if you follow the boxing space, like what me and Claymore do. Shane Mosley Jr. being very notable, right? That means, wasn't Shane Mosley Jr. a Don King fighter? So Shane Mosley Jr. now being with Zuffa Boxing is interesting. He's coming off of that really good competitive fight against Jesus Ramos.
100%.
Right?
100%.
Right? I mean, wouldn't you want to see maybe Shane Mosley Jr. versus Calum Walsh?
Jaleel, any of those guys, man. I'd love to see. I think he's a great addition to what they're doing over there, man.
Right. Yeah, no. So again, guys, take a look at Zuffa Boxing's Instagram. Take a look at the names on the roster. Again, show's happening March 8th. I'm going to be there for that. That's the Jai Pataya Brandon Glanton fight. I'm waiting for them to drop the official undercards. All I keep hearing about is rumors, so don't want to give you guys the rumors. And then right after March 8th, there is a fight on April 5th. That's the debut of Mark Magsayo. They haven't announced his opponent yet. And then on May 10th, Julian Rodriguez is fighting against someone that Dmitry Popov, who we had on the channel. Claymore interviewed him. He didn't want to give us the name of the opponent yet, but he's fighting May 10th. And then the rumor about Conor Benn is May 31st, brother. Sky Sports, global audience. Who will it be? Will it be Shakur Stevenson? Ooh, the coolest thing that could drop in the next 24 hours, Clay, would be Shakur Stevenson, Conor Benn, and Ryan versus Devin. That would be awesome. That would be amazing.
Definitely, man. Salute to everybody in the building, man. Hit the like button. I see a lot of you didn't do it. I don't know what y'all waiting on. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. This episode is not going to be as long as the other ones, man. Honestly, this is probably more on time the way we've always kind of planned it to be. We're able to run through topics.
We've always wanted it to be a 90-minute show anyway.
Right.
So
exactly. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Looking forward to find out what Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney figure out in the next coming days. I'm really anticipating hearing something with the next coming day. Hopefully on a Thursday show, it'll have developed into something that makes sense. We can add more to it. We still got to talk about the Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao situation,
which we're gonna drop to you guys on Read the Ring episode 2. So please check out the premiere. Check out the replay. Check out Read the Ring. It says Read the Room, but it's really Read the Ring episode 1. Check it out. It's on the videos side of the YouTube right now. I think you'll appreciate the 45-minute conversation that me and Claymore had about why it was such a big deal.
And here's the one that's going to be dropping in tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, it says Read the Ring right there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, Read the Ring coming to you soon. It wasn't a coincidence that I'm on the Manny Pacquiao side and Claymore's on the Floyd Mayweather side. Just so that you guys know, that's purposeful.
Got a lot to talk about, man. Boxing is taking such a new, getting some momentum behind it, man. The networks are getting behind it again. It's very interesting. Real interesting conversation we're gonna have with you guys. Check it out, man. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys. Hit the like button. Until the next one, y'all already know what it is, man. It's that boy Rain. It's that ATP Combat Media Show. And at this point, we out.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot, wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this go up. You know it's all net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand. Ay, we on